This video is going to look at 5-on-5 pass and cut. This is not a set offense or a continuity offense. It's a part of our offense when we are just passing and cutting and playing off of each other, reading our double gaps. So one of the ways we like to teach this is through a drill we call flow. And all flow is a way in which we start the drill. You can see the 5 players are lined up on offense and defense. Here's the ball on the side. And as the ball is passed, we flow. You can see that we have our 2 wing runners, lane runners, and we have our first big running down the middle here. So we're getting our good spacing in this way. On the pass, the next pass, you can see that this player stepped backwards to become that trail. So she stepped back to be a trail. There she is there. This gives us vertical spacing and horizontal spacing, which is very important when we're running our transition. So now here we come down the floor, and you can see now that we've created a double gap. And the reason it is a double gap is we have a player in a swing, player in a corner, and a wing in between. So this gives us 1, 2 gaps. So we're constantly trying to create these double gaps. This allows number 3 to attack, or 4 could cut into that space. In this case, probably 4 reads that 3 can't beat her check. She's a good defender, so she's going to make the cut into the double gap to receive the pass. So here she goes to catch the pass. Now, let's rewind. On this side, we have player 2 and player 1 and player 5. One of their jobs is to keep the defense occupied. Occupy these 3 help defenders. And they can do that just by cutting. We call this over here, 1 and 2, we call that an exchange, where they exchange places. And that made their defense have to move, to talk, to communicate. 5, by raising up, she created an open basket, which is another concept we constantly want to do. Keep the basket open. Now, since 4 could not beat her check, in our dynamic we know she could have drove or shot, but she's become the passer. 3 now has to create a double gap, and she's going to run that hard basket cut. This basket cut is so important because the defense must honor and defend this. They must defend the cut to the rim. And in doing so, it's going to give us this double gap. And again, we have a wing player, a swing player, and an open swing. That double gap allows us to penetrate, it allows us to cut, or even we could cut a post player into that area. So very important we keep making these cuts. So again, player 3 goes to the rim. If she was open, she could have received a pass. In this case, she wasn't, so she's going to run our exit cut. So here she goes, she exits. 5 decided to make a cut at that same time. Now this could have been a cut to get open. It could also just be a cut to keep working her check. 1 has cut into the double gap and has caught the ball. And again, if she caught where she was dynamic, she could have attacked the gaps. But she didn't. So again, we've created a double gap. Again, we have a swing, and a wing, and with a space in between. The player who just passed, 4, she's going to have to cut to make a double gap on this side. So here she goes, 4 cuts. Now I don't show 4 stopping, but she could well have stopped. But in this case, she knew she wasn't open, so she just keeps on cutting. And again, you can see 5 and 3 moving to keep the help defense occupied. Again, 2 could have gone dynamic and attacked, but she didn't think she was open. 1 who passed is cutting. Now, sometimes this will happen and we get a little rub off this post player. Technically, this could be a chin screen, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be a rub the action that she gets when she's making that cut. And again, if she was open, we could make the pass. In this case, she's not. And we see now 5, the post is the player who stepped out into that double gap, which is very often what we like to do when we have that type of player. And again, now we're going to have to see 1 is going to have to exit, 2 who passed is going to have to cut. And you can see now 4 probably should have been moving up to make a double gap because she is keeping this as a triple gap where we have a swing, a wing, and her position in the corner. So again, we try to keep, just if we know it's a pass, we try to keep it as a double gap. But if we know 5 can really drive, a triple gap is actually a very, very good thing. Now in this case, 2 has seen that she has an advantage at the rim, and she stays and posts. She's turned a small advantage on her cut into a big advantage. 4 can make the pass, and then we have to be thinking about rebounding and safety. So here goes the pass inside. 5 is around the good cut, getting rebounding spot in the hot spot. 4 is working to come in and maybe get to a cleanup spot. And here we go with a little double pivot for the shot, and you can see we've also have our short safety, our long safety, and our 3 rebounders. So this is just an example of how we can use cutting into double gaps to create good advantages for us to look for to take advantage.